Welcome to the Popcorn Talk Network, for the online broadcast network that features movie discussion, news, and interviews. Press 1. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies. From the Popcorn Talk Network and producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, and Phil Svitek, this is iTalk Movies. Long-form interviews with leading members of the film industry. And now, your host of iTalk Movies.
Hi there, Popcorn Talk fans. We are here for another edition of iTalk Movies with two very, very special guests. I'm your host, Megan Salianas, and joining me today is Kate Murdoch and Casey Nelson. How are you guys?
Good. How are you?
Thanks for having us.
Oh, no, my pleasure. And today we are talking about your guys' upcoming film, The Last Treasure Hunt.
Yeah.
That is pretty exciting. Just based on the trailer alone, this looks like a really gorgeous, beautiful, and really fun adventure film.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It's adventurous. It's got a little bit of everything. It's a family drama with adventure. So,
can you tell people who might not have heard of it yet a little bit about what it's about?
it's about a brother and sister that grew up on this island together with their dad. And when they were kids, the dad would take them on all these elaborate treasure hunts around the island. And now they've kind of grown up. They're in their 20s, and they've had a falling out. And the dad unexpectedly passes away. And in his will, he leaves them one last treasure hunt to go on to bring them back together. So
fantastic.
Yeah.
Not only did you guys act in this movie, but you're actually co-writers of the film as well.
Yeah. We started the script maybe 2 years ago now. 2 years ago. I was like, we shot it last year, but we started writing a year before that. So, and then just kind of like by default, we became executive producers on it too. So it's been our baby for sure.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about where inspiration for the film came from?
Yeah, my aunt actually used to send us all on treasure hunts a lot when I was growing up, and the house that you see in the movie is my family home. So it was a kind of a combination of like my aunt doing that and me knowing that I had access to this gorgeous house, and Casey and I as actors were kind of looking for something that we could write ourselves and we can get made, and it was kind of like a genesis all of that rolled into one.
Yeah, we wanted to write something that we could act in, and she told me about this amazing house she had, so I was like, let's write something and shoot it there for sure.
So it was setting first, and then the story kind of came second?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was like, well, this house is pretty awesome. And then, so we were trying to think of stuff, and I remembered my aunt doing this for us. And my dad actually was like, at the we premiered last Friday, and my dad went, and I said this at the Q&A, and he was like, well, I sent you on treasure hunts too, so you should probably say that next time. So this is me saying that my dad did it too.
So your dad sent you on all these treasure hunts?
My dad also did, yeah. But
she doesn't remember.
My aunt sticks out a little bit more, I guess.
Were these like elaborate Easter egg hunts?
I honestly don't remember. What I remember is I have only boy cousins, and they would all just get to the clues before I would. And I was like, so that's probably why I don't remember, because I never solved it.
And it's funny because that's kind of our character's dynamic in the movie is Oliver kind of always beats her to the clues. So, and I think I don't want to give anything away, but she kind of gets frustrated about that. So
get a little ornery about it.
So I was going to ask if personal experience went into this, so it sounds like it did.
So correct, yeah.
Definitely did. Kate and I have very similar sensibilities. We first met in acting class probably about 3 years ago, and we were both on the SAG nominating committee, or I think she was at first and then I was. And,
opposite. But,
we started going to all the screenings together, and we went to see Drake Doremus' film called Like Crazy, and we saw Martha Marcy May Marlene, we saw Smashed, we saw Somewhere, Sophie Coppola, and we both just loved all these like indie dramas with a little bit of quirk and a little bit of comedy at times, not all of them, but so we wanted to write a film that was in that vein, and we knew that we were both drawn to that, films like Wes Anderson and stuff like that.
So, yeah, I was going to say this isn't the first time you guys have worked together on a project. You guys have worked together before. So it must have been nice coming back together to kind of work on this.
Yeah, well, we wrote a script before this, but we hadn't actually been on set together and worked together in that way, other than acting class before that.
Yeah.
But that was the second script that we had written, and the first one was a little bit of a larger scale budget, so we were kind of like, as we were writing that, we're like, we should really write something that like we can actually do. But that one's stuff is happening with that one, so that's it's good that we did it anyway.
Yeah, coincidentally, a friend of ours knew someone that was looking for films to be shot in Georgia, which is my home state, and we had written a script called The Perpetual State of Georgia. So he sent it to that guy, and they loved it, and they've optioned it, and they're trying to make it later this year. And Richard Saperstein is one of the executive producers. He worked on Seven with Brad Pitt and Hancock with Will Smith. So he's very established. And then James Kicklighter is going to direct it, and Bo Turpin's the other producer. So it's really exciting for us because it was just sitting on a computer and in hopes to get made one day if we ever got established. And now it's happening, and we're like, go do it. Do whatever you want.
We'll catch up to you when you're done.
For sure, yeah. And so that's probably more going to be like us reuniting, I feel like, because I kind of felt like this was more of the first time we worked together.
And she's living in New York now, and she just came in town for the premiere, and we saw each other, we hugged, and it was so awkward because I was like, I see you and talk to you every day, but I don't, because it's all Skype and phones. So I'm like hugging her as if I haven't seen her in 6 months, but I feel like
it's
I
like
have.
we talked yesterday.
Now.
It's like, yeah, we should have just high-fived.
Like, I'm still so sick of you, like 3,000 miles away.
Thank you.
And we were talking a little bit about it earlier, going back to the last treasure hunt, that real-life treasure hunters are kind of really interesting characters, the people who actually go out and leave treasures for people to find and leave kind of hidden clues for people. Did you guys do any research into those types of treasure hunts?
We did no research.
Well, I mean, we did research, and our clues are very elaborate, so we did do a lot of research and in that sense. And the father was very much a literature buff, and the character of the father. So we did a lot of research as to like what kind of clues would he leave. So I wouldn't say we didn't do any research. We just didn't research like real live treasure hunters. But we researched what kind of clues people like that would leave. So
you guys didn't actually go out into the desert with a shovel or anything?
No. But although I tried to leave a treasure hunt for my friend when I went to London, because she was going to be there like the week after me, and I like wrote a note and like put it behind a painting, but then I like got kind of drunk and like forgot it was there. so that was like the first clue, and then it led to somewhere else, and then I gave up because I was like, I don't remember where the first one was. She would have to find it completely by accident.
So it will forever be a mystery.
Yeah, I still don't know.
20 years from now, she'll be like, what is this?
I know. Someone's going to finally clean behind that picture, and they're going to be like, oh, I should go to Abbey Road.
I wonder if it's still there.
Yeah.
Without giving too much away, can you tell us a little bit about your characters and about the dynamic that they share?
Sure. You want to do that one for a second?
Well, I play Lucy, and she is the younger sister in the relationship. She's a little bit dark and brooding, and she's the spoiled one. She's kind of the apple of her daddy's eye. And she's not necessarily the smartest of the two of them. So she's very like ballsy and brassy, so it's kind of hard for her to always be the underdog in every situation. So that's kind of the conflict that she has with her brother, and she loves family, and he is not so into being a family with her.
Yeah, Oliver's kind of straight-laced by the book, and a little more conservative, and he has a failing business, and he feels like he kind of has to live up to these high expectations because his dad was so successful and so smart and cultured and articulate, and so just it's hard to grow up in that shadow, and he kind of feels like he's underachieving, and that's tough on him. But then also when he gets reunited with her, like he's torn between I don't know, just reliving childhood and having fun and kind of letting bygones be bygones and just accepting family versus holding a grudge and, you know, being proper and being straight-laced and saying, okay, let's just solve this treasure hunt and be on our way and get everything in order as opposed. And she wants to like have fun and embrace the father's life, and I'm ready to like close the book and move on. So that's a good question. I've never thought of that, and I was like, oh god.
Oh god.
No one's asked you about your guys' characters?
I guess not. I don't know.
They asked us what it's about, and I have my token response, and now I'm like, oh my god, I don't have this one memorized.
Well, first of all, you guys need to talk to people who have seen the movie, I guess, a little bit more.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But just kind of going off of that, we talked about kind of the setting and how that was kind of the initial inspiration, and talking about a little bit about the characters and where those came from. Obviously, one of the film's themes is about family. Mm-hmm. And I was wondering, what other themes did you guys have in mind when you guys sat down to write the script?
I think we work in a unique way. We kind of found it, and I don't even know if I should confess this, but I'm being honest. We kind of found it after we had written it. We didn't, and someone told me recently that's kind of just how it is. Every writer's different, and I feel like we wrote a script and then we were like, okay, what is this turned into? And it morphed into this film about forgiveness and about family and about what was the interview we had yesterday? And he said something, and I was like, oh, I've never thought of that. And
it's it was interesting. It's the things you always want to say to someone, and then what do you do when you realize that you've missed that opportunity to say that to them, and how important it is to live in the moment and say what you feel. And Casey's character especially struggles with letting people in and saying how he feels. So that was a major theme too.
Mm-hmm. And that just kind of developed organically. It wasn't anything that you guys had in mind.
I think we had it in our bones, but it wasn't, it's one thing to kind of like feel it and you think it's there, but then there's another, when people actually like read it, they might not necessarily get it just from reading it. But I think it's important because our instincts automatically will go places like that. So it's just a matter of like going back in and kind of making it more obvious.
Yeah, and then at the end, when we do finally discover what that true thing is, we're like, oh my gosh, it's so obvious, but we just didn't even realize it along the way. It just kind of naturally morphed into that. So
probably like your characters going on this journey together and then kind of not really knowing where they're at until they get to the destination.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's the way
Very good.
It's a big metaphor.
It is.
So for this particular film, you guys had to wear a lot of hats, being writers and actors and producers as well. What is the most challenging thing about having to kind of juggle all those different aspects?
You go ahead first.
For me, the most challenging thing was kind of how every time you think you're going to be done with something, it's only like done with like that part of it. And I had never made a movie from start to finish. I'd just been an actor in movies. So I never realized, I was like, it's going to be okay. Once we get through pre-production, it'll be great. And then it's like production's like this whole other beast. And then I'm like, it's okay. Once we're done shooting, like everything's gonna be fine. And then like post-production is just like a nightmare. And then you're like, post-production's almost done. It's gonna be a finished film. And then it's like all the festival stuff. You're just like, okay, it's like literally never gonna be over. And so wearing all those hats, you literally have a hand in all of that stuff. So that's been very challenging, but I guess now that I know kind of how it goes, it won't be as challenging next time around, hopefully.
I found it difficult to, and these kind of piggyback on each other, not only to raise financing for the film, but also to get people to take us seriously. And those kind of go hand in hand. You want the people that are financing to take you seriously, and you want the people taking you seriously to help you finance the film. And Kate and I weren't proven filmmakers. We knew in our hearts that it was going to be special. We knew in our hearts that we had good sensibilities and that it was going to be a good movie. But how do you prove that to someone? We didn't have anything to show except for a script. But even then, even if you have the most amazing script, there's no proof that we have the sensibilities to hire the best director, the best DP, the best composer, every single thing. And And now it's so refreshing because after we finally premiered last week and like everyone's coming up like, oh my God, I had no idea. Why didn't I know? How I wish I could have been a part of it. How did I not know this? And I just thought I was coming to support my friend. Like half of my friends came just to be supportive, and then like thinking they would be like, all right, good job, man. See you later. I'm going to go get drunk. It's Friday night. And then everyone was like, oh my God, how did I not know? And I'm like,
so excited.
And then this is so funny, but my best friend, one of my best friends for 12 years, he was like, dude, like, you're a good actor. And I was like, thanks.
You're like, I've been doing this for 12 years. Like,
and I was like, and he's like, yeah, I've never really seen you do it that much. And you did good. And I was like, well, no one's really ever given me the opportunity to be the lead in a feature film before. So that's why we took matters into our own hands. So.
That's fantastic. I'm glad to hear that it had such positive response when you guys had
it was exciting.
Yeah. It was
really cool.
It was kind of surreal seeing it on the big screen with 450 of your friends and family and strangers and and having them cry and having them laugh and having them stand up and cheer, and it was kind of like a dream almost come true. Like I felt like I was just like I was gonna wake up Saturday morning and be like, oh, that didn't even happen. The premiere's tonight, you know?
Oh man, so cool. Well, you mentioned that you've been acting for quite some time, both of you. So I wanted to know, just kind of to go back a little bit, what initially made you want to get into storytelling? Did you have a eureka moment where you knew for sure that's what you wanted to do?
I didn't know until the 3rd grade when there was a play and they drew names out of the hat to see who was going to be certain things. And it was some like... We Love America kind of plays. But like the main people were Martha Washington and George Washington. I just didn't know that was, something exciting. And then I got drawn to be Martha Washington and I was like, oh my God. And I got so much attention and like people just like, my grandma made me this like beautiful dress and like people literally like I would walk down the hallway, they're like, oh my God, Martha Washington. And I just like loved it. And so I was like, this is so cool. And so I just did community theater throughout high school because I loved it so much. And I stopped for a while because I ran track in college. And then I broke my ankle my senior year. So I kind of, without the track in my life, I remembered my love for acting. And I did a student film and then moved out to LA. So that's my little journey.
Yeah, my real dad, I used to go visit him on the weekends because my parents were divorced, and he had to work a lot sometimes on the weekends, so I would just be like, well, I want to go to the movies, and just drop me off at the movies. And literally I was like 12 or 13, and he was just so cool, and I would go and just spend days and days at the movies. And this was like the heyday for me of like the Back to the Futures and the Karate Kid and the E.T. Actually, that's a little bit before that, but even before then I was always just going. And so I would literally go spend like 6 hours at the movie theater. And so I knew that I wanted to be a part of that, but I didn't know that was a possibility growing up in Georgia. Because now Atlanta is a big booming film community. It wasn't. And then similar to her, I was, this is actually how we became friends, as we started running together. And I ran track in college, and I was a business major my freshman year or sophomore year, up to my sophomore year, and I was running and I got injured just like her.
Oh, no.
It's just really random. I forgot about that until you mentioned it yesterday in this interview, or the other interview we did. And so I had to have surgery on my foot. I never fully recovered. And I literally the guidance counselor was like, well, what do you want to do with your life? And I go, I want to be a professional basketball player. And she's like, well, that's not going to happen, and it's never was going to happen. Let's be realistic. And I was like, I want to make movies. And she's like, well, why don't you change your major to drama? And I said I want to be an actor. That's what it was. And then I met her like right on the cusp of that being a possibility of like making your own film. And I actually give a shout out to my friend Simon, who made a short film called Refrigerator that you guys should check out. It's on YouTube. And he made it. And when I saw it, I was like, and I was older. I was like 30, but I still was like, oh my gosh, my friend made this. And he made it in like a week, and it was amazing.
Really cool.
And I was like, I want to do that. And then he and I made one, and then I made another one, and then I made another one, and then the natural progression was, let's make a feature film, because these were all short films. But he really, I don't even know if he knows this, so maybe if he watches this, but watching that in the theater, because it got into a bunch of festivals, and seeing this 28-minute short film, I was like, oh my God, he just did it himself. Like, why haven't I thought of that? I wasn't 30, I was probably like 27, but I was still like, I felt like a kid. I was like, why didn't I think of that? So ever since then, I've been like, let's make movies. So.
Yeah, there are a lot more opportunities now and outlets for people to get their stories out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so easy now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
now
mean,
you can take a movie on your iPhone and then upload it to YouTube in one go.
And they have really good cameras on your iPhone. It looks my pictures look beautiful now.
I think one of the films that got into Sundance this year was shot entirely on an iPhone.
On an iPhone.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I'm a little jealous. Wow.
I know.
That's fantastic. But just speaking about the look and feel of the film, since you guys were involved in just about every different aspect of filmmaking, how much input did you have in terms of the look and the feel of the picture?
We had a lot. I mean, Patrick, our director, and Michael, our cinematographer, are both like such incredible artists. So they just brought so much. I think we had initial conversations with Patrick and we're like, this is kind of like how we see it. And I mean, he went to school for art design, so we were kind of like, you probably got this. And Michael just has such this like an incredible eye for, I think it was all natural light and like framing. He's just like so amazing. So they were both such artists that they would kind of like huddle and then just like come up with something really beautiful. So we didn't really have to do anything.
Yeah, once we got to set, they did their thing. We didn't really have, or I didn't have any say so. But beforehand, like she said, we were very, very particular about what we wanted it to look like, and we knew that they were capable of doing it because of he had done a short film called Nirvana, and Michael was his DP, and he had done a few music videos and commercials, and we were like, that's what we want our film to look like, so just do what you did there. And then we showed him some other movies, and he put together I think he called it a portfolio, and
it was a treatment.
It was a treatment.
Yeah.
And he didn't even have to. He just did it, and we were like, you got the job. And he's like, wait, let me do this just to show you what I'm going for. And he put together this incredible treatment
Pretty.
Yeah, and I wish I had it to show you guys, but and it had some stills from like some David Fincher films and some Martha Marcy May Marlene, which we had told him was a reference to us, and Drake Doremus films, and we knew exactly what we wanted. And the treatment, he didn't even have to do it. I was like, why are you doing this?
You can only lose this job.
Yeah, what if we don't like this? But it was like he went above and beyond, and we just knew once we got to set, they just did their job.
Yeah, we saw the dailies from like the first day, and we're like, oh, cool. We don't have to like stress out about this at all.
They got
It's so pretty. Yeah, it's great.
But after the process, after we were all said and done, Kate and I were very heavy-handed in music and color correction and editing and all that kind of stuff.
Well, Michael, the DP, actually also did the coloring for the film. So like that was his. He was very particular about that. So that goes to show you how passionate he is about his particular style. And
this is a good thing, he put in his contract that he would get final say on the coloring, which I thought was very, I mean, that's just like someone taking pride in their art. They're like you guys aren't going to go screw this up, and he made it look beautiful. And like she said, it's 95% natural light when you watch the film. It's there's a few night scenes that there's just a lamp on or something, but he's just a very talented young guy. Yeah. So he's young. I think he's like 24 or something, 25. I don't know, but he's extremely young and extremely talented. Well, no, I mean, I just think it's amazing. He's so young, and I couldn't believe it. I wish I was that talented ever in my life, let alone at the age of 24, 25.
So, since it was in such good hands, did you guys, being writers, there wasn't any difficulty then, kind of letting go and handing it off to the director?
There always is. I mean, but Casey and I are also really free with our words, and we love improvising and finding stuff through that. So I mean, for me, I wasn't incredibly precious about stuff just because I would like to throw away things like willy-nilly, like when we were in scenes. But that being said, we had rehearsed so much that like not a lot ended up getting changed just because we were so sharp and on it, just because we had months of rehearsal and we knew it so well. So that really lended itself to kind of keeping everything in. Time-wise, I think we had to let go of a couple of things, but... Yeah,
it was. I mean, I think I was a little more difficult to let go of things and trust, and you know, I admit to that. I was just really passionate about it, wanted it to be good, but you learn. And to give a shout out to Tammy Menoff. She's an acting teacher that Kate and I had both worked with before, and she literally let us come into her classroom for like 8 straight weeks and do every single scene from the movie, and we rehearsed it as if it were a play. So when we got to set, I barely even looked at my script. I mean, it was just in our bones, and we'd sit there and they'd be setting up and she'd be like, bah, 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 bah. We'd just be doing it, and then we get there and it was just, I mean, some takes we did it 2 or 3 times, and he's like, guys, like, I think we got it. I don't know what else you can do. I think it was great. And for us, it was like it felt like the 10th or 12th take because we had just done it so many times. And so that's a testament to, like, if people have the opportunity to rehearse, overdo it, you know.
Better to do too much than too little.
I think so, but that's me.
Well, I can't believe you guys rehearsed it so much, but going into that's fantastic.
And I'd never done that before. I usually kind of just like do my own work, and then you're kind of thrown in with the other actor. So it was a new experience, and it could have gone bad too. But it was like once you get over that hump of like being sick of it, and it like just kind of like sinks in your blood. It's the best thing ever. Like I hope I always have 4 months rehearsal time.
Or at least some.
But probably not.
I've been on TV sets and you know, studio film sets where I'm saying it for the first time, and there's a $100 million budget going on, and I'm saying it for the first time with this crane coming down and this guy walking towards me, and it's like, bah, 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 bah. You're like, oh my God, I just don't want to pass out and throw up anywhere. You know what I mean? I just don't want to trip. Like, that's the only thing. It's like, just don't trip.
Say the words.
Just say the words and don't trip. But for us, it was, I know this is probably going to sound pretentious, but I didn't feel like we were acting because we had worked on it so much, and it was so ingrained in us that, like, we could have done it in our sleep. So.
Well, what is the one thing you want people to kind of take away from this film after seeing it?
I just want people to be moved and see something in it that they can relate to in themselves. I've had people say, oh, it made me cry, and call my sister and tell her that I loved her. And I think that kind of thing is so amazing, because everyone can see the same movie but see different things in it. And so I just hope that everyone can kind of like see something in it.
Yeah, mine's similar to hers. I just want people to be moved and you know, connect to it on some level. And you probably didn't mean this, but from a filmmaking standpoint, you know, leave there and say, you know, I could do this too, because she and we're just 2 people in acting class that decided to try to make a movie, and we just, you know, if you build it, they will come, and we just kept working hard, and we believed in ourselves, and we went and made a movie. So
that was actually my next question. Any advice for other aspiring filmmakers?
Yeah, that would be great. I'm just like a really competitive person, and I think that that's served me pretty well. So I think that if people kind of learn to light a fire under their butt, then they can pretty much make it happen. Just learn, you know, the internet has so much stuff that every time I didn't know the answer to something, I would just Google it. And you can kind of find your way through, maybe not as well as like a seasoned professional, but I mean, I didn't go to film school, and I was able to make a movie. So that's pretty cool.
Practice makes perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I was reading this Stephen King book recently called On Writing, and he was saying that he doesn't think it's hard to find an agent. He thinks it's hard to write something that is worthy of an agent. And I think that resonated with me, because the hardest part was writing something that was worthy of people's time. And once we figured that out, it was a lot easier. If we had written something that was kind of middle of the road, or people didn't connect with, I think it would have been very, very, it was already extremely difficult, but it would have been twice as difficult to get people on board. But I feel like, you know, do your best to create the best possible product, or the best possible script, or put together the best possible team, whatever that may be, and then go from there. Because at the end of the day, if you have a great script and you don't have a great DP, it's not going to work. Or if you have vice versa. If you have a great director but you don't have a great script, it's not going to work. So just do your best to stack the deck in your favor and get the best possible team. And I think that we were extremely, I want to say fortunate, but we were also very, we did our research, and we did our due diligence in finding the best possible people to surround us with. And I was telling a person that interviewed us this morning that our goal was to get people attached to the project that weren't doing us any favors, that wanted to do it because they were passionate about it and they saw this helping their careers and they believed in it and they believed in us. If they felt like they were doing us a favor, we were kind of like, even though you're brilliant, I'd rather work with someone that's not as brilliant, that's really passionate and believes in us. So I just feel like that's important, surrounding yourself around people that are just as passionate as you are.
It's a team effort.
It is.
For sure.
Now, you guys just had the premiere on the 29th, and I was wondering if an official release date has been listed yet.
No, we still want to make the festival rounds. We just submitted to a bunch of festivals, so we're hoping that we get into more, especially because we were just in Dances with Films, and it was so much fun, and we've already met so many people, and we're kind of just being introduced to the scene as young filmmakers, so we're excited about that, and then hopefully distribution in the future, because we really want to get it out to the world.
No, this sounds like a movie that people need to see.
Thanks.
So where online can people go if they want to find out when the movie's being released and find out more about what you guys are working on?
Website's www.lasttreasurehuntmovie.com, and then the Facebook page is
Last Treasure Hunt Movie, and we have a Twitter too that's Last Treasure H. And we're hopefully, I wanted to make sure we mentioned we have a really cool soundtrack, which is just a really good time. So hopefully we're going to be able to get that out to people before, the movie comes out, so people can
bands like
cool artists.
Northern Faces, Marjorie Fair, Abbott Kinney. Steve Reynolds is a Grammy nominee, and he's a friend of mine, and he just gave us a song, which was insane. And I know I'm forgetting
Neil Connolly.
Carson. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name, but it's Aune. And then Dominic Bogart, who is actually the lead singer in I'm Not a Hipster, which was in Sundance. And this is a perfect example. If you build it, they will come. I met a guy who liked our movie. He was like, hey, I'll get my friend Dom to sing a song and I'll write it. And I was like, cool. And Dom winds up being the lead singer and the lead actor in I'm Not a Hipster. And it was one of our films that influenced our movie. We interviewed that DP. Our acting teacher's in that movie. The girl that plays my wife, or girlfriend in the movie, is in that movie. And it was just the stars aligned, and all of a sudden Dominic's singing 2 songs in our movie.
Rad.
And just because we made a movie, and that's how it happened. And I can't thank him enough and Carson enough for writing 2 original songs for our film, the opening song of the film, and then a crucial scene with her and her love interest in the film. So, and Neil Connolly, you said that, but I think I was talking over you.
Well, it sounds fantastic. And I know you guys are going to be doing the festival circuit, but do you guys have any other upcoming projects that you can talk about? I know that sometimes it's a little tough when things are under wrap and in development, but is there anything you can talk about?
Well, the other script Casey and I wrote that we mentioned earlier, The Perpetual State of Georgia, is kind of steaming ahead, and we'll hope to have more information on that one soon. And so that's what I'm working on, and we're both writing more scripts together, so we'll hopefully have another project that we can kind of do from start to finish again. Yeah,
we're about halfway done with one film about a high school track and field team, which is really
yeah, because we were just why haven't we written about that yet?
And a good friend of mine has written a script that takes place in Georgia called Southern, and that's where I'm from, and that's where he's from as well. And we're trying to get that off the ground as well. And it would be my the first film I ever directed. It's going to be a feature film. I've done some short films, but it would be the first feature I've ever directed. So I feel like that's a natural progression as well, as to produce and act in a movie and then maybe one day direct a feature. But we're in the very early stages of that. So.
Well, fantastic. I would love to see the track film.
Yeah. It's a pretty good time. Yeah, we would like to see it too. We're having a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
I ran cross country in high school.
Oh, awesome. Cool.
Nice.
Good company.
Well, run in the loosest definition of the term.
That's what this character is too. He's just he's there for the chick.
Yeah. He's there because the hot girl that he pines after joined the team. So he's like, what am I going to do? I'll join the track
All those
team.
running ladies in their little short shorts.
I hope he doesn't suffer an injury, because that sounds like
well,
that
we're only on
possibly.
page
Only his pride.
60.
Only his pride. A number of times.
Maybe, yeah.
Well, that's fantastic. I thank you guys so much,
Thank you
for,
so much
for coming in today. We really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us about the film.
Oh, thank you
We
for
appreciate
letting
it.
us be here.
Oh, can't wait to see it. It's going to be a lot of fun. And thank you guys for listening. If you haven't already done so, please follow Popcorn Talk on all the social media, Twitter, Facebook, all that fun stuff. Subscribe on iTunes and YouTube. Leave a comment. We love hearing from you guys. So please feel free to let us know what you think of the show. And if you want to follow me, you can follow me on Twitter at TheMenguin. That's TheMenguin. I'm also on a bunch of shows on our sister network, AfterBuzz. And also, I've started writing articles for The Movie Chick with 2 Ks. Be sure to check those out. Guys, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Nice
thank
to meet
you. We appreciate it too.
Thank you guys for tuning in. We will see you guys next time.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network. The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.